So I'm going to start a new series of videos focused on the first ladies of the United States. And there's about 46 of them. So in today's video, I'm just going to do the first 5. And then eventually I'll probably compile all of them into one longer video. So first up, we got Martha Washington. Notice the hair. That is just a short male haircut, actually. A lot of head coverings going on. There's a lot of stuff going on the head, but unfortunately hair is not one of them. And I do kind of wonder, like, who is this person? I don't think Martha Washington even really existed. There's really no evidence. If you read the biography of Martha Washington, it's all a little bit sketchy and strange and unclear. It just doesn't really add up to a real person. You know what I mean? So I don't know who this is, but it's quite possible this is another prominent figure, one of the founding fathers of America. So my guess is that this is kind of like a part-time character that somebody played once in a while. They would pose for a painting, maybe make a couple appearances here and there throughout the year, but not too many. Probably just a fake character, a fictional character, basically. But I just wonder, is this Thomas Jefferson? You know, is it John Adams? Like, who is this? Is it George? I don't know. I would guess it might be another prominent person, and this is some kind of ritual that they do, because this is all about balancing the opposites, getting back to the singularity. This is an ancient occult practice, by the way, so there's nothing new about this. If you're asking yourself, why do they do this? You can see my other videos, but it's basically their religion. It's Kabbalah, Freemasonry, alchemy. They believe that human beings are supposed to be androgynous. It looks like that guy Grandpa from the Munsters. All right, now we go on to Abigail Adams. It does kind of look like some old dude dressed like a girl. And again, we don't really see the hair. It's got this weird bonnet on the hair again. Another head covering and some weird veil or something. But if I just look at this face, some of you may say, well, it's just kind of an ugly old woman. But just kind of look into the eyes there, and it kind of looks like a creepy old dude to me, right? Especially that nose. There's some masculine features going on in the head. And that's mainly what we're going to get, is just headshots and these kind of photos. We're not going to really see the hips today. But I think if you just look in the eyes there and just try to think, is that a man with makeup on? I think it is. And again, who was it really? That's the question. I don't know who they really are. I don't know if they dress like this full time every day. Probably not. Here's one. Jefferson. Martha. Here's another Martha, otherwise known as Martin Jefferson. Who is this guy? Is this something that future presidents need to do first? You know, this is some kind of androgynous ritual, part of the initiation process. But that, to me, it looks pretty obvious, like a guy in drag. Probably just a wig. And Martha Jefferson was actually the daughter of Thomas Jefferson because his wife died. So the official story is that Martha Jefferson kind of filled in and was an occasional host and therefore served as First Lady. So I do think this was basically a part-time gig. Maybe all they did is pose for a few paintings here and there. Otherwise, they probably just dressed like men and had some kind of male identity. These were like well-known men at the time, I'm sure. So it says here, Martin Jefferson Randolph, another male name, was tall and slim with angular features, which describes a lot of men, doesn't it? And red hair, and was said to have closely resembled her father. Well, maybe because it's a boy. It could have been the husband. Okay, so the husband actually does look kind of similar, who was governor of Virginia. So maybe that's how it works. You know, you got to be the first lady boy first, and then you get promoted to some kind of official post as your male identity. And this dude looks pretty strange as well. The proportions are just not even accurate at all. And also Thomas Jefferson, again, I think he looks somewhat similar to Martha Washington, but I don't know if we'll ever figure out who these people really were. So this is Dolly Madison now, the number 4. And just take a look at that face. So again, they put the head covering on the head, bit of hair sticking out, which could be some kind of wig. And then they even have some kind of neck brace. Does this person have whiplash? What's going on with that neck brace? The whole thing. See, they're covering up the entire neck. Why? Well, maybe it's a male neck. And look at how strange that guy looks. That's the president, President Madison. Looks like a total freak. He might be some kind of seraphim. This photo, too, doing the same thing. It's the same costume, right? Kind of sitting there, but you can see how broad those shoulders are, how long the arms are, trying to cover up the hands there. Yeah, that's like an old dude. So they try to make these people look like homely, unattractive women that you almost feel sorry for. Like, why can't they ever put an attractive person in? I guess they tried with some of the recent ones, but we'll get to those eventually. And I think this is the first one where we actually have photographs. But whether it's a photograph or a painting, it's not quite passable. So the painting has female breasts, but I don't think the photos do. And what is that? Is that a painting from when it was younger, I guess? So again, pretty masculine looking features. Feminine clothing. Probably had to make these custom made. Even this here looks like a pretty masculine arm there. So apparently Dolly Madison was the first lady boy who actually took an active role. So maybe that's when they started to make this a full-time ladyboy position. And you just think that someone would have noticed, you know what I mean? I mean, if we can tell by looking at these photos and paintings, people who came in close contact certainly would have gotten a good whiff. So actually, this photograph of Dolly Madison has been manipulated. You can see it's the exact same photograph that's been reversed. And I don't think Dolly Madison is actually sitting next to anybody in either photo originally. It's like that photo has been photoshopped to make it look like Dolly Madison is sitting next to someone else in both photographs. I don't think they're original. I don't think either one of these is an authentic photograph with two people in it. Dolly Madison has been inserted into the photograph of someone else. So what's going on here? More fakery, more questions. Now this photo is interesting. Dolly Madison is the second from the right, but look at the face. It's all blurred out. Everyone else is pretty clear, but Dolly Madison's face is like blurred out. Why? Well, maybe they're trying to cover something up there. Either that or it's shape-shifting, which wouldn't even surprise me at this point. And moving on to the next one, which was Elizabeth Monroe, who, again, this one apparently was not very active or social. Not too many photos or paintings even available. And it says here, despite the fact that she was First Lady for 8 years, very little primary source material exists on Elizabeth Monroe. No correspondence between her and the president, her family, and the general public has survived. Maybe because this person didn't exist either. The first documents in which her name appears relate almost exclusively to legal, financial, and property matters. So again, a very mysterious and elusive character from history. And the shoulders do look pretty broad. A pretty huge body, actually. And again, with kind of a strange head covering. Now the nose simply could have been painted smaller. See, that nose looks too small for the face. So I think this is a painting, and all they did was paint the nose smaller and feminize the painting. So again, this one here looks a bit more masculine. It's kind of difficult, and painting's obviously not the best evidence to use, but that's really all we have for this person here. So it has the sloping shoulders, but it also has this huge thick neck, kind of a big head. And this is the daughter of Monroe, who also looks pretty masculine to me, you know what I mean? I mean, that looks like a transvestite to me. That's President Monroe's daughter. All right, so that's it. So that's the first 5 first ladyboys of the United States. Make up your own mind. You know, you got to be able to see it for yourself. Some of them are a little difficult because they're, you know, such a long time ago. We only have paintings or photos in somewhat poor quality. None of them are what I would call attractive. So I'm going to go through all the first ladyboys, and we'll see if they're all ladyboys or not. You know, there might be a few that are difficult to tell, you know. So it's going to take a while to go through these, and maybe I'll do about 5 at a time or so. Otherwise, the video gets too long. And then maybe what I'll do is compile them all into one longer video later on for easy reference. As usual, do your own research and think for yourself, and see you next time.